right. Once again, welcome to the Lighthouse Podcast. This is episode 6, and we are really growing. The number of episodes is increasing, one day at a time, as we grow together in conversations concerning families. Steffi,
Yes,
how be you?
I'm doing well. Thank you once again to our viewers. They have made us get to episode 6. I believe without them we wouldn't be here. And I'm glad for what we are doing today. Let me say I'm also privileged to have the guest that we are having. I know you'll be introducing him, but yes, I am fine.
Yeah. So today we have a guest, and this is something quite critical and important in families that we want to talk about, and this is conflicts. So we want to see how can you cultivate love, understanding, and eventually get lasting peace in marriages. Conflicts are said to be one of the main reasons why divorce is quite high. And remember, we say the rate of divorce in marriages is up to 44%.
It's really growing.
Yes, it's really growing. So who better than Dr. Alan to talk about conflicts? I know this is a man who started as a medical doctor. And right now he decided to get back to treating hearts. Healing hearts.
That's interesting.
Daktari, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Steffi. It's a delight to be on this show. It's quite an inspirational show, particularly to families. And we pray that even this particular one, God is going to give us insights to speak into our own families and the families out there.
Wow, thank you so much. Welcome. I think conflicts are quite, and actually many people struggle with conflict resolution. This is a serious problem. And I know you've been in the conflict resolution business for quite some time. You've worked with communities, with individuals. You're also a married man. I know you have some tips that you can also give us in this platform. Good. So, Steffi.
Yes.
Women have been of great, they have been in the receiving end in the recent past.
In terms of conflicts.
Which have gotten worse to the level of the femicide campaign that we had. Was it last year?
Yeah, though it's been continuous, and I believe even the government is already doing something about it. But I believe conflict is both to the male and female, only that the females have become louder these days, and we have found ourselves being victim quite a number of times, and that is why the femicide campaign began. But ideally, the issue is just about how people handle conflicts within the marriage setup, or how do they fight healthily and not have to get to the point of either harming the other partner or even in the worst case scenarios leading to death. So I believe this is why we are here today, and basically trying to tell people that it is okay to have different views about anything that you could be handling, but how do you handle a conflict within the marriage setup so that it doesn't go south, but it ends up in a way that is respectable to both parties and also not harmful. Yeah,
that's very true. If you watch the news today, most of the stations that bring news, you'll always have a conflict issue, something that has come up from marriage, someone killed. And I think it's from that point, Dr. Alan, that we would wish to that you help us explore. What do you think are some of the main triggers of conflict in marriages?
Thank you very much. I lived in Narok for quite some time, and there is one village called Olendem, and Olendem is in Mau Forest, and some of the area is quite thick natural forest, but on the other side of that village called Olendem it's farming community. It's still within Mau, but it's called Kisiriri or Lokirikrai. Those, they are opposite that village, and heavily productive in terms of wheat, potatoes, and all manner, carrots. But now that area serves as a tributaries to one of the river that flows from that area. And what you realize with that river at the very initial stage, it is a river it's flowing, but one side of the river, the water is red. And the other side of the river, the water is clear. And they flow, one on the left, the other one on the right. That is at the start, now near the Olendem area. I forget the name of that river. But when you go down on the Narok Maimahiu highway, you meet the same river. And at a place called, I think, Olkeri. But now at that point, it's homogeneous. You don't see the water on the red on the left hand. In other words, marriage is like that. The red is the water that is collected by the rain from the farming community. The clear water is the water that is collected during the rainy season from the forest. So the forested area collects very clean water. The farming community collects the farming lands collect very dirty water, red. That's what marriage looks like. Yeah, you come as the red water. Yeah. She comes as the clear water. But downstream, over time, you may flow, each one with their own principles, each one with their own beliefs, each one with their way of doing things. And so that river, as it starts, it's very clear. We have clear water, we have red water. But over time, there is need for that homogeneity, such that you are able to give in to some of your beliefs. You are able to give up some of your principles, so that at one time we cannot see the Steffi, yeah. But now that process of mixing, that's where the conflicts come in. Because I want to stand my ground, you want to stand your ground, and so if no one is willing to go low, then you find that many years into marriage, we still have the red water and the clear water. Yeah, at a point whereby you have grown-ups or teenagers, but you still have red water and clear water. But you would rarely find people bringing up teenagers or even grandchildren still having clear water and red water. If at the first 10 years of marriage, you are not able to mix the water, it is very likely that you will end up in divorce or in kind of a separation that is messy. Yeah. So in short, the main precursors of conflict in marriage is having these two people who are not willing to melt, so that to form now a homogeneous ice cube. Yeah, everyone wants to go their way. You want to be that ice cube, you want to be that ice cube.
I like that. What you're saying indirectly is marriage itself is the trigger to conflict. So if you want to stay away from conflicts, maybe stay away from marriage.
Yeah, you see, these are two people who are adults.
Yes.
And have been living in a type of way before deciding that now we want to get married. So this concept that Dr. Alan has just brought in has even tried to even simplify it further. So I think the big question is, are you sticking to your red water or the clear water, or have you made an ice cube that you can decide to now gel in together and move forward? Yeah. So I think that point, identifying what your conflict point is very important.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor, for that analogy. So I think picking up from that, so then it means that conflict, if not resolved, can also be destructive.
Yes.
Okay. So I want us to get to this now. How can we recognize, hey, this conflict, this is destructive, and this one is going to break this marriage?
So definitely, when when people are particularly, the way we have been wired, the way we've been brought up, that's why you find there is need for a third party in a marriage, and you find what we call best couples. Those are parents that work with you in marriage. And why? Because when you are standing your ground and the other is standing their ground, it is very hard to see where you are leading to. It's like driving through not snow, but what do we call it? Mist. Yeah, mist and the fog. It's like driving through that. You can't see what is ahead, but you still think you need to go. Yeah. So the need for that third party is to help raise the early warning signs in a conflict in a marriage, because for the people who are like intoxicated by their willingness, or rather they want to win, and at the end of the day be considered, I won.
It has to be my way or my way.
Yes, those people don't see things that they don't see that things are heading on a cliff. So they keep on pushing, hoping atanijua, ataniona.
Trying to drive a point.
Yes. So at the end of the day, you get to a cliff and roll over without really realizing that things are getting worse. But anyway, the people are different, and there are people who are very quick. There are people who are very kind of sensitive, and they can see what is going on is not right. Yeah. And that is why you find some people just coil back. Yeah. And they accept to be wrong even when they are right. That's something we are always told. But it's very difficult practically just to take that humility that you are right, yet you decide to look like you are wrong, so that you can break the speed, the speed at which you are driving towards the cliff. Otherwise, that comes with the wiring of a people, the upbringing of a people, but also the company around the two sides, you know. If you are people who walk to their parents and explain what is happening, and your parent is psyching you up, don't accept to be treated that way. Don't accept to be they say kukaliwa, usikubali kukaliwa. So and then maybe you have a clique of friends who also psych you up. Then you don't see those early warning signs. You are rejuvenated. You are given zeal to fight. Yes, yeah. But now to fight towards what? No.
This is interesting because it's actually coming in after our topic about third parties. And you remember we talked about there are good third parties and there are those that will mislead you. So in this context, it means like the best couple in his example are people who are supposed to come in to help you resolve. When you're unable to solve it between the two of you, then in that particular scenario, that would be a very positive third party. But then there's also the others who are actually driving you further, towards that cliff that you don't even have to be with that person, you don't even have to listen, telling you about the negative things. So it's important that you ask yourself, where are you seeking your help from? Who is that person you're bringing in when you're in conflict? Yes.
Actually, maybe this is not about third parties. But today I see a lot of funny things, because what you do with third parties are people who are proven. People who are proven, people who have seen it through. People who understand various dynamics. Marriages are always different. They can never be the same. But there are people who can view things from different angles. Because principles remain fairly the same. It's only a matter of details that differ. So when we talk about third parties here, when you are choosing that third party, the best couple, it ought to be someone proven. And in those olden days, best couples were no nonsense-free people. And yes, and in most cases you'll find gray-haired, best couples. They will tell you as it is, and some people would even prefer going to their parents than going to the third party, the best couple, because those who are nonsense-free, and they should be people who can adjudicate an issue with a lot of partiality, with fairness, with looking at facts, because they already decided to carry your burden. And so, but let me also say that I remember in my case, I was told, don't really bother us. That is my best couple. Don't bother us. What you can solve between you, solve it. It's only when it is now impossible that you call us in. Because when we bring our dynamic into your conflict, then you should know it will not remain the same. Because we have also our way of looking at things, our way of... So try as much as possible to work it between yourself. Don't be lazy and use the easier route of knocking onto our doors just to solve,
Yeah, so probably, Collins, with that, it means most of the solutions can actually lie within the couple. Yes. Yeah. If they just try to sit and listen to each other, and again, communication is coming up. Yeah. So
actually, that is one thing we're going to talk about in our next discussion. But now, despite all these triggers and all these ways that we can actually use to identify conflicts coming up, sometimes most couples decide we are not resolving issues, let's just keep things under the carpet. Best couple walisema we should not bring them in so much,
so let's just keep quiet.
Sometimes you do not get to resolving the issues. Okay,
that's also a problem.
So what are some of these dangers that will come out when we do not resolve our issues, when conflicts are, when we put things under the carpet?
You know, Paul was, and people use this in a wrong way. He was telling, he was saying, if you, kind of almost warning people, don't marry. Yeah, if you think you can survive without marriage, don't. Why? Marriage is not for boys and young girls, just to this is for mature people who have understood what it takes. It's serious business, and it's a task that is 24/7 for the rest of your for the rest of your life. So there is no place in marriage of sweeping things under the carpet. You know, it is better that you are always in conflict, because conflict is acceptable. It's what makes a marriage strong. In the making of that clear and red water homogeneous, there must be a lot of conflict. Yes, those are what makes a marriage strong. But now, when there are issues that are swept under the carpet, they are not gone. They only grow. And the one time, the heap under the carpet can no longer be hidden. Yeah? It will be a huge heap that even the carpet cannot withstand.
You need a big carpet.
Yeah, you need a bigger carpet. So, and resolving issues is difficult, is painful. It needs a lot of give and take. Because from your previous question, the triggers of conflict, oh man, I think that has no end. Because I know you have had even people who just differ by the way you squeeze toothpaste out of.
Very common one.
Yes. Yeah. Just the way you handle your socks, particularly men, yeah? Yes. Just the way, or just how you sit on a sofa. Yeah. Someone was taught to, when you get into a house, you sit up. Yes. And then this guy, immediately he lands in the house, legs on them. So there are 1,000 triggers. Yes. And it could be something very small. And you know, these triggers, once they accumulate, they become one huge heap. But whenever you are able to settle things as they come, then they don't heap up. But now when you sweep them under the carpet, then they will start reminding you. You remember? I told you not to squeeze the toothpaste from there. Now you see, you are always greeting people, or particularly ladies on the while driving, and now you see, you are always doing this. Yeah. Now your sisters are calling you at 10 in the night. Yeah. And I dislike. I told you never had. Now you see your workplace. So that is a whole list of things piled under the carpet. Now when things blow up, all those things are retreated, and they start building up into one huge heap of cases. But whenever you have capacity to solve that, and you have it, of course, it is important. Those small things, the Bible says, it is those little foxes that spoiled the vine. Yeah, it's not the elephants. Yes, it is those smaller things that will spoil the whole vineyard. So, as much as possible, solve those things.
Sure. You know, many people, when we talk about conflicts, they think we we are talking about very big issues, only issues of infidelity, issues of even battery, those small foxes,
It's
like
that
you
small,
said.
yeah.
So when you do not solve them, like he says, then it means you're growing a time bomb that one day will burst on you.
Yeah, but over time, I've also come to realize in our not so many years of marriage that sometimes there's those fights that sometimes are not even necessary.
They're not worth it.
Yeah. So like you also have to put the item of conflict on a weighing scale and see, is it worth it? It's probably just that he's putting on a color that you don't like. Is it something that is going to cost you anything if you don't fight about it? Yeah, basically just weigh the issues out. Yeah. It's the small things that count, but also if it's not very necessary, just avoid it. Yeah.
So I also think maybe you need to also check to ensure you may trivialize something that is probably quite heavy in the heart of your partner.
A small thing to me is not very small to you.
Relative.
Yeah.
Those are now our background, the way we are brought up.
The red and the clear water.
I remember one time my wife came home very happy. She had fixed, she had replaced a tire on the road.
On her own.
Yes. And she was very happy. Now when she came, honey, I fixed a tire just by myself. Yes. No one helped me, and I don't know. I think I was so cruel. I said, that's a simple thing. That thing was painful.
Yeah, it must be.
I'm there. I don't know how to retrieve that statement, and but it wasn't something light for her. And from that time, I learned what you are saying. We should not trivialize. Yeah. Now maybe like me, I've grown in an environment of cars, and she's a new driver. That's a big achievement. And then I trivialize it. I think she felt kind of broken. Yeah. And those are the small things we are talking about. Very small things but can really mess up the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think we've talked about a lot of how conflicts grow and how they begin and how they are actually unavoidable. So then it means we also need to look at how we can come out of conflicts or resolve them, especially when things escalate and disagreements are actually too huge or big.
Yeah. Where do we take those issues?
What is a healthy way of actually resolving these conflicts?
Good. As I said, I think it's good to understand that marriage is for the courageous and the mature. And when you are in a football match, you have different players, but the goal is, there is one goal, and that is where as a team you are aiming to score. And so the way maybe a winger or a striker will play is different, but they are all aiming at the same target. So even in marriage, maturity is to understand your goal in marriage. and every time knowing what might ruin your target. So you may find that we are one of the trigger maybe in marriage is how we are raising our children. You want to baby feed them and spoon feed them. You want to be yes, and act like the father of the 1970s, you know. Why? You want a good life for your children, and you want a good life for your children. The goal is the same, the means are different. So, with that understanding, one of the ways to solve that is just sitting down and harmonizing your approaches. Borrow this, borrow that, drop that, so that you come with a way that gets to the goal. You are all comfortable, and the children don't suffer in between. So I would say issue about conflict in marriage is just listening to each other intentionally. Because in most cases, people don't differ because of different goals. Yeah. They differ because of the approaches to towards the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe even just ask your partner, how would you want us to do this? You know, maybe have that discussion. It would probably reduce the number of conflicts.
You know, like I know the issue of finances is one big issue. Yeah. Now, we said marriage is for the strong and the mature. That means even things like finances, you need to continually talk about finances. How much are we earning? How much do we spend on this? But women have been accused that we don't like to be questioned how we are spending. But that is a big source of conflict. And it becomes a serious source of conflict, especially when the tables turn and your wife, you know, when you had money, you did not want to be put to task how you are spending.
When she gets it.
Now when the table turns and you are the one without the money now.
Again, the lady will not.
Yes. So every time, because you are two married, mature people, it is important to always get back on the table to agree on many things. You may agree, disagree, but as a couple, you must find a way out, so that you don't bury things under the carpet.
Yeah. One time there's someone who told me it is very risky when you are in the middle of a conflict and all of you are standing. That one of you needs to sit down. And why am I bringing this after Doctor just said this? I think the aspect of listening, that also strongly tells you that there's someone who needs to go down.
Yeah.
There's someone who needs to sit down and see, okay, so what is this person? What could have offended them this much? Someone who promised for better for us. And remember, you're also cube mates, your bed mates. What could lead this conflict to a level of you thinking this person is your enemy? Yeah. And I like that aspect of us remembering that we are working towards the same project, same goal. We are the same team. And that's a quality that I think that's something we also usually do because we also have conflicts in our house. I like that Doctor has mentioned it. We usually go back and see, I thought we are one team. We are on the same side.
You actually realize as you converse more, you're actually talking about the same thing, only that you are communicating it differently. But having that discussion definitely evens it out. Yeah.
But before now you get there, now getting into that common sense, of saying, okay, we are working towards the same thing. That is very theoretical. Yes. Now, before you get there, that's where and you've rightly put it. One of you needs to. Proverbs says, 21, verse 9, a common verse. Better to live on a corner of the roof. Yeah? Some version says corner of a room, than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. So put it, could be husband, or a stubborn husband, or something like that. Yeah. Now, if the Bible is telling us it's better to live in the corner of a roof, it's very cruel. Yeah, very bad. Very bad place to be. If there are things you can do to avoid that corner, then you better work for it. Otherwise, you end up in that corner as a man, or as a wife. For me, I think I wish my wife was here, maybe, because for me, I always tell her, when you are quarreling and you are disagreeing bitterly, one of you needs to go down, and it doesn't reduce you when you apologize. Actually, I saw a joke saying, I can't remember it. It was saying men should always apologize, especially when they are right. Yeah. So even if you are absolutely sure that you are right, when after 5 years of marriage, you know who can go down and who can't. If you know my partner can't go down, can you go down? Yeah. But now when you are having sweet time, you are the environment is the environment, you are laughing. Now you can bring in the topic, and now bring in the facts, and then you say, now you see. Yeah, can you judge for yourself? And now that's the time you hear someone now saying, I didn't understand that. Now I am so.
Yeah, I didn't
understand your perspective. But that time, it was not possible to. So, because you don't want the corner of the roof, just humiliate yourself by apologizing even when you are right. And then over time, so that doesn't repeat itself. When the tide is low, now bring the subject and look at the facts that led into that.
Yeah, but when you bring in the aspect of apologizing, then there has to be a recipient who is willing to accept that apology. So again, it's still a two-way traffic. Yeah. There has to be someone who's accepting this apology, and there's someone who's actually giving that apology.
It also brings the principle of flipping the
chart.
Can you flip the chart and try to look at the issue from the other person's perspective? Because you may be blocking a very important perspective in that specific issue.
Yeah.
And that introduces us to the next thing. One thing that is critically important in conflict resolution.
Maybe just one more thing before you get to that. I think it's also important that we understand our personalities. In one of our lighthouse classes, we've done something about personality testing and people understanding what is the source of this conflict. Sometimes it's just about the personalities. None of us is willing to be the person who sits down, like in the example that you gave. So what happens in that scenario? And I believe that is a conversation that we can even have at some point and discuss about personalities. So that it's important to understand me as your wife, what is my personality and what is yours as my spouse, and that will help us to be able to actually find a way of compromising in situations.
Doctor, that reminds me of that tool of the personality, the conflict resolution style, and the way we are very different in the way we resolve conflicts. I think maybe that's something is it something we can also encourage people to do in families? Can we encourage people to take personality tests?
You know, if you bought a faulty car, you become a friend of the mechanic. Yeah. And when they miss you for 1 week, they will start calling. Where did you run to? Yeah.
Where are you taking your car?
Yeah. Because you are always there. You know, the start was faulty. For marriages, courtship should be intentional, and you are better hurting at that level than when now you are in a room where you have to live in a corner. Yeah. So courtship should be very intentional, should also be guided, and that's why it is also said, take time for courtship. Yeah, because someone may pretend for 1 month, 2, but it's not possible to pretend for 6 months or more. You know, and that is now when you are able to learn the traits. Yeah, this person who is always they can't even ask for water without shouting. Am I able to? Yeah. And maybe from your upbringing, maybe you lived you grew up in an environment where you are shouted at, that every time you hear someone shout, then it traumatizes you. That is the time to know, no, maybe I need more of an introvert in my life than you know.
And that shouting person.
Yeah. So courtship ought to be intentional, ought to be guided, and that's where you make the right decision, so that you don't buy an old car and become a friend of the mechanic. There is little you can do. Even if by God's grace, probably you may become congruent with each other, but it will take time. Yeah, that water, the clear and the red water, may take time before it is one thing on the other side. Yeah.
Yes. Good. So I think moving on to the next bit of this conversation, one very critical thing that I want us to address is the place of forgiveness. And not just general forgiveness that is inspired by faith. How can we use forgiveness as an important tool for conflict resolution?
Yeah, forgiveness is always a difficult subject, a wide subject to talk about. And you brought it well. That's from the point of faith, you know. Because one of the best thing to really consider concerning forgiveness is that the person you are asking to forgive has their heart sliced into two. There is a serious damage on their heart, probably their reputation, their feelings, you know, their personality, their persons, you know. So when you are talking about forgiveness, it needs to have that in the back of our mind. It is very damaging when you tell someone just to ignore that their heart has been sliced into two. Then how do we get to a point of acknowledging that? And that is where we need to prepare someone who has been wounded. Prepare them thoroughly before we can even ask them to forgive, because forgiveness becomes, it's a product of a heart that is healed. Trying to bring the two pieces of the heart together, healing, helping that the healing of that heart, the healing of that mind, the healing of those emotions, you know, the healing of that history, and then talk about forgiveness. Yes. And you know, people, particularly couples, sometimes we are fond of asking even for forgiveness in the wrong way. Yeah. Yeah. Mimi hiyo mara yote nimekusamehea. Yeah. Ama kama nilikukosea, if I wronged you, you know, or sometimes you are given, and you know the devil is very cunning. You are given a pulpit opportunity. You are going to preach the church, and the last 2 weeks you have not been talking to each other. Now you go to your wife and tell, or your husband, tell them, you know,
It's not good.
It's not good that I go to preach. Yes. When yes, yeah. So forgive me so that I go and preach. So that forgiveness is not for you. It's not for her. It's not for the one who is wounded. It's for you. It's a selfish kind of forgiveness. So at any one time, when you are asking for forgiveness, it needs to be with acknowledgement of the level of woundedness you have caused the other person. And so it should be for them, not for you. And you should always know you are asking for a priceless gift.
Something that you don't deserve.
You don't deserve. It's something that is priceless. And so you can't demand it.
Yeah.
Yours is to sincerely ask for it. If it's granted, praise God. If the other person is still yet not ready, you also wait and respect that. Yeah.
You know, some of us throw our hands and with a lot of pride. You even refuse to forgive me, so what do you want me to do?
That's you are not sincere, because if I know the amount of hurt I caused you, it should also pain me.
Exactly.
And if you don't forgive me, I would understand, because I know what I did is very harmful. It will take some time to bring some pieces of your heart together.
That's true. And I think as partners, maybe even as we wind up, I believe the same way we have been saying there's a place where you can get solutions. I know we've mentioned the church as a place where you can also go for help. At some point you mentioned people who need to, when you're having mental issues, you can actually go to a rehabilitation facility. And there are also organizations that have actually been trained to handle issues of conflict resolutions when you're seeking for help. And maybe you even realize someone is carrying a past hurt that is not even brought about in the marriage. Probably something that someone came with a burden with into the marriage. And if they do not resolve this, there's bound to be more conflicts arising from it. Probably someone was hurt, like what example doctor just mentioned, when you're coming from a background of people shouting, and that is past trauma that you're holding. So I don't know whether doctor mentioned about Way of Peace and organizations that are actually working with people to help them come out of such situations and help them to resolve conflicts and even debrief and come out of these issues and come out as a lighter person. Yeah. So I think those are avenues that we can also follow just to come out of conflict and help us to resolve conflict in a peaceful way, because we realize conflict will still be there. But it's how you actually handle each conflict as a separate item.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's true. I think some conflicts need help. Like Doctor said, you usually need a third party to help you see some problem.
Yeah.
If there's this thing we call the Johari's window, which usually reveals the fact that there are things about yourself that you may not know. You actually need someone else to come in and help you realize, like it's very hard for someone to know they have pride. It takes someone else to tell you there is a lot of pride around you. So, and like Steffi says, Dr. Alan is the director of Way of Peace. I think we are going to put some link here. and most of what they do is actually conflict resolution, not just among individuals but also within.
Yes.
Helps you trace it back to where the roots of that specific conflict is, and help you come out of them. So you need such organizations and such people to help you when things are thick, because sometimes you need help, you know.
Actually, not some people. All of us struggle with some issues, and that is why we always find solace in a faith congregation, because that's where our life is spoken to, and some of those hearts find their remedy.
Sure.
But now when you find that you need that dedicated time just to deal with that, it is always important to reach out. And one of the things you realize with the families that are hurting, always build a society that is hurting. And a society that is hurting is always a society in conflict, and a society that doesn't grow. Yeah, you started with femicide when we were beginning. Today you will hear someone in Bomet has slitted their wife's throat. Someone in wherever they have. Why? People have wounds that they don't realize. And one of the you will find one of the trick that the devil uses is to show you how well you are while you are very sick. And the devil will always try to show you, no, you are good, you are okay. Even to a point whereby you kill your children, but the devil is assuring you, no, that's you are good, you are okay. But now, always seeking the help of the Holy Spirit, just to pinpoint those gray areas in our hearts, so that we may bring them forth to the bearer of our pain, that is Christ Jesus. Because once we are able to give our pain to Jesus, we find the healing. A heart that has been healed can easily forgive, can easily ask for forgiveness. Yeah.
That's nice. I like that. One big thing I'm taking home today is forgiveness comes from a place of healing. If someone has received healing, then it's very easy for them to also offer it.
Yes.
So we also need to ensure we help the people we've hurt to also get healing. And for you to also forgive, sometimes you also need to heal from the issue.
Yeah.
So quite some insights we've learned there. And remember, the Bible tells us in the book of Hebrews 12:14, the first part, that we need to make every effort to live in peace with everyone. Okay? And this is why we actually have to discuss this issue, because God is concerned. He's the one who initiated marriages, and he wants to see them afloat. And we agreed in this podcast, Lighthouse, we are going to save one marriage,
one at a time.
Yeah. So if you're out there and your marriage is struggling as a result of conflict, I think you need to try and use whatever you've learned from this podcast, or further seek help.
Yes.
One of the reasons why we also exist as Lighthouse is to ensure that marriages keep afloat. So we pray that we can grow love, which can actually help us to cover all this pain that we get from a lot of unforgiveness and the conflicts that we have. Dr. Alan, as we wind up, what is your parting shot?
Well, I would say marriage is for the mature. And it takes a lot of effort to keep a marriage afloat. Love, as you have said, is about selling yourself to the other person. and giving the whole self. So that giving the whole self provides an opportunity for the other person to also fit into your life, so that you are not so selfish that it's about you, and it's my way or the highway. It is about me, I and myself. That's not for marriage. Marriage is about the other person. And if that other person has also the same attitude that it's about you, then you have each other for the other one. So to ensure this environment of marriage is convenient for our growth, it is important that we keep on talking to each other and solving our issues as they occur, so that we don't end up piling issues to an extent that we cannot handle them anymore. It is painful to hear a family lose their loved ones through domestic conflict. It's painful to hear children who are innocent suffer the struggle between their parents. It is not good when there is places we can seek help. And Lighthouse has been one such place whereby you can always come and find solace, and your issues are helped. In other words, you are helped to deal with your own issues. So don't struggle out there. Men and women out here are caring. There are places you can get that point of seeking help. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Alan, for gracing our show. We hope next time we're going to have some deeper conversations concerning conflict and how we can also help families to heal. Steffi.
Yeah, we've heard from the experts and we are grateful that it was a good show. Thank you for honoring the call from Lighthouse to even come and be part of this podcast. We look forward to more engagements and even better partnerships with the Way of Peace and even you as a person. To our viewers, we appreciate you. Thank you for keeping us running. I know these are deep conversations we are having, and sometimes writing them on the comments is heavy. So we have left out our email address on the description box. Please reach out to us if you need further discussions on whatever issue that we have discussed, or maybe even beyond. Please reach out to us. We'll be able to discuss and engage you directly, and even know how to guide and lead you to the right person who can be able to help you. To our crew, thank you very much for supporting this podcast and even always being here with us. And I look forward to more episodes. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let your friends know. You never know, that one marriage that we're looking for could be reached out through you. So keep liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast.
Sure.
Thank you.
Remember, the Bible says in 1 Peter 4:8, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sin.
Yes.
Want to remind you to grace your marriages with love, grace, and humility. These are very powerful tools of restoration. And today, make an apology, be intentional, create a date, and pray together about your issues.
Yes.
And let's hope God helps us to come out of these conflicts. Thank you. Goodbye. See you in the next one.